Hey everybody, this is Naheem78 bringing you another standard Pokemon battle. I'm using Black 2 and my opponent here is Spencer from Cerebi. I lead off with my Beheem. I don't know why I led off with Beheem, but led off with him. He led off with Ambipom, so we know how this is going to go. He's going to go for the Fake Out, and it hits Beheem. And the Fake Out does a considerable amount of damage due that it's a critical hit. And as you notice, his life orb kicked in on his Ambipom. I get my health replenished by leftovers, and I didn't want my Beheem to be killed, but for some reason I left it in there, and he taunted my Beheem as I was going for the Trick Room. So he pulled off the taunt on Beheem, and I decided to this time withdraw my Beheem because I don't want it to die just yet, and I send out my Empoleon. So he goes for the U-turn on Empoleon, and it does a little bit amount of damage on Empoleon, not too much, and goes back to Spencer. Spencer sends out his stupid Whimsicott and goes for the Cotton Guard. I thought he would have did like Spore or Leech Seed or something, but he didn't. Surprise me with the Cotton Guard. I go for the Ice Beam because I was like, regardless of whatever, this thing is a threat. We all know Whimsicott is one of the most hardest Pokemon to take out. So Ice Beam does more than half his life, so I'm really excited about that. And he decides to withdraw Whimsicott and sends in his Cobalion. I go for the substitute, and he goes for the Sacred Sword. Sacred Sword hits my substitute because it's super effective against Empoleon, and I go for Agility, thinking that I'm going to be faster than him so I can set up another substitute, but his Cobalion is Choice Scarf, and it goes before my Empoleon, and I get nailed. So my Empoleon was definitely dead father on that turn. So I go for my new Typhlosion, which I kind of developed on my own because I just wanted to see if it would work. Everybody thinks you should always go for Scarf's Typhlosion, but I didn't. Mine's actually different. I go for the Flame Charge because I know he would switch so I could get the extra speed up. And it's a critical hit, but it doesn't do that much damage on his switch-in, which is Blastoise. It's Life Orb, so I lose some life too. And his Biggs is Leftovers up, so he gets back his life. So I go for the Wild Charge, and during the battle, Spencer said this really threw him off because he's never seen a Wild Charge Typhlosion. And I said, well, I developed a new Typhlosion for battle. So he goes for Toxic, thinking or predicting that I was going to switch, but I didn't switch. I just stayed in. So I guess that was good on my part. So he gets a Toxic off on me, get hurt by the poison, and he decides to switch out his Blastoise knowing that I have Electric move. He sends in his Gliscor, but I go for Howl, knowing that he was going to switch to his Gliscor, so I get the attack raise and I get burned by the poison, and his Gliscor has Toxic Orb. His Gliscor goes for Protect, and I go for Flare Blitz, and his Gliscor is protected, and Toxic drains me down. He withdraws his Gliscor and sends in his Biggs, and I just go for the Flare Blitz because I'm already about to be dying due to the Toxic, so I don't really care at this point. Whatever I hit, I'm going to hit for a good neutral amount of damage, and it hits his Blastoise. I get the recoil from Flare Blitz, I get the recoil from Life Orb, and then Toxic takes out Flamma. So There goes my Typhlosion. This Typhlosion really is in the testing phase. I'm still running it through, but I'm really impressed with how it did. So I send out my Terrakion, and he sends out his Ambipom, and here we go again with the fake out. And he gets the Life Orb thing. I get flinched. He withdraws his Ambipom and sends out his Dusknoir. His Dusknoir exerts his pressure. I go for the Rock Slide, thinking that he was going to send in the Gliscor or anything just to get neutral hit. Rock Slide hits his Dusknoir, and I get a critical and it faints. So I was really glad that that crit came because it took out what could have been a potentially dangerous Pokemon for me. He sends back in Gliscor, and I decide to switch out my Terrakion and save it for later, and I send in Serenity. Serenity is one of my new favorite Pokemon to use because of its special Tri-Attack move. Serenity came from XD. As you can see, when I did the switch, he went for the Earthquake, but Earthquake doesn't affect Togekiss, aka Serenity. He flings his Toxic Orb at me, which was something I was not predicting, so that was pretty smart on him. And I was badly poisoned. I wish that Fling would not work when you pitch items, because you already have a whole item, so why would the other item take effect? But whatever. So I get poisoned. He decides to withdraw his Gliscor and send back in his Whimsicott. And at this point, I go for Air Slash, and Air Slash, of course, nails his Whimsicott. So his Whimsicott really and truly did not do at all what I expected it to do, which I'm really, really grateful for, because that thing can be really annoying if you are not prepared for his annoyances. So he sends out his Cobalion again, and as we all know, it's already Scarfed, so he goes for the Stone Edge, and I know Stone Edge is not going to take out my Togekiss, but it's super effective. I go for the Tri-Attack, hoping I get one of the 3 Haxes, whether it be the Burn, the Paralyze, or the Freeze, but I didn't get any, and I was really kind of peeved about that, because either one would have been good for Serenity and this Scarf Stone Edger, because it would have gave me a chance to roost up and anything. So I decided to just leave Serenity in there and hope that the Stone Edge would miss, but the Stone Edge did not miss, and Serenity gets nailed, and that's the end of my Togekiss. I decide to send in my Terrakion to scare my opponent again into switching, and he sends in his Gliscor, and I do the Earthquake. Earthquake misses, and I decide to withdraw my Terrakion. At this point, you guys should notice that my Terrakion is Scarf, so that's why I keep withdrawing him. So I send in Wise Girl. He goes for Earthquake. Earthquake hits Wise Girl for pretty considerable amount of damage. But hello, it's Zork in disguise. So this Zork, I don't know what I was thinking. I did my substitute, but I shouldn't have did substitute. But I don't know what the hell I was thinking on that part, because I was like, damn, I should have got rid of that Gliscor. But either way, the substitute was a dumb move on my part, obviously, and I get leftovers restored. So instead of going for Swagger, which I normally would have gone with, I went for the Foul Play, thinking that his Gliscor was a physical Gliscor, but I don't know what's the deal with his Gliscor, because it has all kind of weird moves, but hey, that's the game of Pokemon, right? Throw you off. So he does Acrobatics, takes out Zoroark. I send in Wise Gal, Beheem. He goes for Acrobatics. Acrobatics does a considerable amount of damage, but does not take out Wise Girl, which I was surprised at. So I go for the Psychic, and Psychic nails his Gliscor because of a critical hit. So once again, another critical helps me nail potentially dangerous Pokemon on his team. I get the leftovers replenishment, and he sends in Kabalion once again. He goes for the Sacred Sword because he's Scarf, and it's not very effective, but I don't really have that much life, so it takes out Wise Girl. I send in Bruticus because Bruticus is my very last Pokemon and my last hope. Knowing that he would switch or think that he was faster, I decided to go with the Earthquake, and the Earthquake takes out his Bishop with no problems. So now we are down, both of us are down to our very last Pokemon. He sends in Ambipom, and we all know what Ambipom is about to do. He's going to Fake Out. Fake Out is going to hit for considerable damage because it's Life Orb. But due to the fact that my Bruticus is Adamant Nature and Scarf, he has max attack, and I know Earthquake is going to take out Ambipom, who is frail. This was a very close match. Spencer was very surprised. Good game. Thanks for watching.